Today, with 5 weeks left in the school year, I have something very important to talk to you about. And it's not going to take long, but it's a strategy that is going to help your students actively prepare for exams, whether it's an exam you created, or it's an AP exam, or it's an end of course test that your county or state has created. It's a short one, but I think it's really going to help you be prepared and to help your students be prepared in these last 5 weeks of school. Hey there, fellow educators, and honestly, anyone who's ever wondered what would happen if we actually listened to teachers for once. I'm Leah Cleary, and this is If Teachers Ruled the World. After 25 years in the classroom, I've learned that teaching isn't really about having all the answers. It's about being brave enough to ask the right questions and maybe, just maybe, admitting when we have no idea what we're doing, which, let's be honest, happens more often than we'd like to admit. So grab your coffee or whatever, and let's talk about the real stuff. The messy, imperfect, sometimes beautiful reality of what it's like to shape young minds while trying to keep our own sanity intact. Because if we're going to change the world, we might as well be honest about what that actually looks like. All right, let's dive in. Hey teachers, welcome back to If Teachers Ruled the World. I'm Leah Cleary, and today we are keeping it short and sweet because it's the end of the year and I know you don't have time for anything that isn't immediately useful. So today I want to share a review strategy that I've been using in my AP World History classroom, but I promise you, this works for any class, any level, any subject. And I'm sharing it because a few weeks ago, I watched it work on a student who had been skeptical or pretty skeptical about everything we have done all year long. And if it worked for her, I think it can work for your most resistant reviewers too. Let me set the scene. I have a student, and you know this student. Every teacher has this student. This student's sharp, honest, does not let you get away with anything. She's been doing everything I asked all year long. She's been annotating the AP course and exam description. She's been finding examples for each historical development. She has been doing the work. So when she criticizes, I listen. But she kept telling me, I'm doing all of this, and I still don't feel like I'm learning it. That kind of feedback is really hard to hear. But I've learned to listen to that student because she's usually right. A few weeks ago, we did this sorting activity in class. And at the end, she said, Okay, I finally feel like I'm ready to discuss this. And that was the moment. That was the breakthrough. And I want to share exactly what we did because it is so simple. It's so low prep and it works so well. All right, here's the strategy. It starts with flashcards. Now, you've got options depending on your situation. Option one, if you already have a vocabulary or key concepts built out somewhere, just use Quizlet and print the flashcards. Quizlet lets you print them in a fold over format. Term on the front, definition on the back, done. Low prep, high value. Option two, have students make the cards themselves. This is actually my preference because the act of making the card is already studying. It's just one part of studying, though, and that's what I have to get through to the students. For AP World History, I'll give the students a timeline for a specific period. So for period one, that's 1200 to 1450, I'll give them a list of key events, people, and developments from that period. Every student gets assigned something. They write the term and the year on the front, or the years depending, and the definition or the explanation on the back. Now, you've got a class set of these cards. You've got a lot of cards. and students have already had to think about what they're writing. Here's the part that made it click for my most skeptical student. You get a big piece of butcher paper or chart paper or whatever you happen to have. For each unit or period that you're reviewing, print out the CED, so the historical developments if you're teaching AP, or the standards if you're not, and cut those out. Paste those all over the chart paper for one unit. So one big sheet per unit. The standards or the historical developments that go with that unit, just print them, cut them, glue them on that chart paper. Then you give students their flashcards and you say, find where this goes. That's it. As a class, students sort their cards under the historical development or standard that best fits. I laid it out on a big table, but you can lay it out on the floor. You can even hang it up and have students stick the cards to it, but make sure that they stick it with something that'll come off easily, like tape, not glue. So the Taj Mahal, for example, goes under the development about land-based empire rulers using monumental architecture to consolidate power. The Palace of Versailles goes right next to it. Tax farming and zamindar systems go under a different development about economic and taxation systems. What you're doing is you're taking all of those facts that can feel like random information just kind of floating in the ether, and you're anchoring them. You're showing students this is the pattern, and these are the examples that prove that the pattern is accurate. For a regular class, you do this exact same thing with your state standards. Cut them out, glue them on the paper, have students sort examples under the standard they connect to, same logic and same results. So here's why this works. The thing about end of year review, students, especially students who've been working hard, often feel like they know a lot of stuff, but they can't access it under pressure. That's because they've been learning facts without always seeing the framework those facts live inside. This strategy forces them to see that framework, to see that connection, that pattern. And once they see it, the facts aren't random anymore. They're evidence. They're examples of a pattern. And that is exactly what AP exams, end of course tests, and honestly, most good assessments are actually asking students to do. Recognize a pattern and support it with evidence. So you see, my student hadn't been failing to learn. She'd been learning facts without a map. So I had her annotating, but this gave her a map in which she was physically and actively sorting. I want to give you some quick logistics advice if you want to try this. Start with one unit or one standard cluster at a time. Do not try the entire course at once. That's overwhelming for everyone. I do one period per class section in the weeks leading up to the exam. If you're short on time, print the flashcards yourself. If you have a little more runway, like I dream of having but seldom do, have students make the cards themselves. This investment pays off. You could even get those cards and laminate them for another year when you are running short of time. And if you don't have butcher paper, sticky notes on a whiteboard work just as well. The sorting's the point, not the paper. That's it. That is the whole strategy. Simple, active, low prep, and it worked on my toughest critic. That's a pretty good endorsement. If you try this in your classroom, I would love to hear how it goes. Come and find me at leahcleary.com or on Instagram at Leah_Cleary, or you can find me on Substack. You, my friend, can also find me on YouTube, and let me know how this went for you. If you like this episode, leave a comment in the reviews on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow my podcast so that you don't miss an episode. I've got one coming out for you every single week. And hey, remember this, you're almost there. The end of the year is hard. The review grind is real. And you are doing important work even when it doesn't feel like it. Keep going. Until next time, if teachers ruled the world, we'd have a little more time to actually watch our students have breakthroughs. I'm Leah Cleary, and I'll see you next episode. That's it for this week on If Teachers Ruled the World. Be sure to subscribe, share with a teacher friend, and join the conversation at leahcleary.com. Until next time, keep ruling your classroom and rewriting the rules.